You are listening to Asanda Beda on SAfm.
Women's Month it is still, so we're talking ditching mediocrity. And the background is the pandemic, obviously, forcing many individuals to reimagine their workplaces and organizational culture. And Heléne Smuts, who we're speaking to now, author, leadership facilitator, and founder of CredoGrowth, has published a book that helps develop high-performing teams through practical tools for leaders. With over 15 years' experience and has worked in companies on 5 continents, she says it's a real privilege to work with individuals that want to enhance their work culture and create engagement by understanding what's important to them and their workforce. Heléne, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure, and thanks for making time. Very early in the morning, you had to wake up this morning. But tell us about your journey from leadership facilitator and how you founded CredoGrowth.
Yeah, it's been quite an interesting one. I started off my career in tourism management, and then, to make a long story short, it went from tourism naturally into HR, especially with my industrial psychology academic background. And I co-founded another people development consultancy in 2009. And after 11 years of heading that up, that feeling of a startup kind of crept back to me the whole time. And I really had a need to make a difference for founder-led businesses. And the founder-led businesses are slightly smaller than your corporate size. And it was such an important thing for me to bridge the gap between leaders and employees and that's why I started CredoGrowth, is to really start making an impact on the ground, where people can soak up things very quickly and actually implement it. And just to see the movement from before the process to after the process is what gives me my thrill. Absolutely. So, it's been quite an interesting journey. And as you can imagine, also small businesses in the pandemic have its own challenges.
Absolutely. So how
leadership and culture challenges. So.
The concept for Ditch Mediocrity, how did it start?
Yeah, so I was challenged to write a book around culture, and this was many years ago already, and it kept hanging it was constantly in the back of my mind. I didn't grow up wanting to be an author or wanting to publish a book ever. To be honest, I could not really write to save my life.
Okay.
I've got an Afrikaans background, so you kind of you write as you speak, which is not really great. But in 2019, in January, before I even realized about the pandemic, I actually launched an online leadership course, which is a 12-module online course, which is available on the CredoGrowth platform. And all of a sudden, something clicked in terms of this challenge that my mentor has set for me to write a book about culture, and there are so many already. It's like, why don't I use this online course as the backbone of the book, because the feedback was so great around the course, and that's how the idea around the book came to life. That it's going to be literally taking these 12 modules and putting that into a practical handbook. It's not a handbook, but because there's a bit of storytelling in it. But that's how it came to life. Is I took that course and I put that into a 12-chapter book. And then there was loads of iterations around the name, but eventually we found the name Ditch Mediocrity, and I really enjoy the name. It speaks to my personality.
And how long was this process? Because I know sometimes books can take years.
Yeah, it can. I started it last year. I think October. I started the outline of it. And then all of a sudden things started speeding up, and I got myself a designer. I got someone to also make sure that my English was fine. It started about last year, October, and it launched in June this year.
Okay, so what tools does the book share when it comes to leadership? You speak of 12 chapters. Maybe we won't cover all 12, but maybe a few, let's say 3.
Yeah. So the first thing is, like, someone posted a comment on LinkedIn where I saw they say 12 chapters of practical tools and only 96 pages. It starts off with, for example, understanding where your team is at as a leader. then, and it can be a team leader, a line manager, a supervisor, or not even if you have the title, just someone being part of a team. Then we move into understanding personalities. Then there's quite a few, and how we work as different personalities. Big focus on communication and communicating well, especially when we have tough conversations to be had. And moving into ownership, into how do we create psychological safe spaces, all the way to giving amazing feedback. So it's literally 12 chapters of just tips on how to do this thing called leadership.
And we like that it's 96 pages. We love that.
Yes, it's so good, it's so quick.
Yeah, and when you go into a book with the mindset that it's not too many pages, I don't know, for some reason you want to go on at it more vigorously. I don't know. I get that.
Yeah.
But as we commemorate Women's Month, what role can women play in building healthy and supportive work environments, in your view?
Yeah.
Is it about that communicating well, establishing ownership and psychological safe spaces?
Yeah. Look, sure, there's such a big role that women can play. And if I look at all the clients that we are working with, fundamentally, it also, like you said, it comes down to real communication. And I think if we as women can create a space where we show that communication should not be shied away from, even if it's a tough conversation, have those conversations. Yes, we as women can have a lot of empathy, and we can show the softer side of things. But I think as women, we also need to communicate and show people that strength that you have in terms of, if you've been knocked down, get up and I almost want to call it that grit that we have as women.
Yes, absolutely.
And show that in the workplace.
Where can we get a copy of your book? And please share your digital footprint.
Sure. It's available on Take-A-Lot. So if you just go on Take-A-Lot and type in Ditch Mediocrity, it comes up immediately. And it's normally delivered in 2 to 3 days. And then social media, on LinkedIn, it's literally just Heléne Smuts, but I'm going to have to spell my name. It's Helene, and then Smuts, Smuts. Okay. And then my other handles, Facebook and Instagram, is literally Heléne Talks.
Thank you so much for joining us, Heléne. Happy Wednesday.
Amazing. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your early morning.
Thanks, you too. Heléne Smuts, author, leadership facilitator, and founder of CredoGrowth.